Wow. You're not gonna believe what I just saw. I watched a video about movies that totally ripped off other movies. It was incredible. It had lots of views, the comments were all nice, and boy was that host one charming, handsome young man. So now what I'm gonna do is make the exact same video where I talk about movies that totally ripped off other movies. I'm gonna rip off that other video about movies that rip off other movies. Now my budget is gonna have to be small, but that's okay because I'm not gonna put much effort into it. And if I play my cards right, I'll either trick people into thinking this is that other video, or make them believe it's some kind of follow-up to the one they already love. There's also a small but passionate group who actually enjoy things that feel low effort, and I'm betting on them to show out. If I've learned anything while studying all of these knockoff movies to make this knockoff video, it's that movies don't have to be art. They can be schemes. And I think this just might be my masterpiece. It's impossible to replicate a one-of-a-kind movie experience like George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road, but god damn it, the folks of Mockbuster production studio The Asylum were gonna give it a try. Starting with taking the title Mad Max Fury Road and just kind of moving the words around until they got Road Wars Max Fury. I will say something about this movie really clicked with me. Like, the director and I were always on the same page, cut from the same cloth, reading the same playbook. We're thrown into a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland where water is scarce and modes of transportation have been reduced to Google Street View cars. How did the world end, you say?
There's been a war, or something happened to the government.
Now, Mad Max Fury Road was a smash hit, winning 6 Academy Awards. But you know one thing it didn't have? Zombies. In Road Wars, the first sign someone is infected with the zombie virus is that they can't drink water. Instead, they drink blood and become night runners. Rad. There's rumors of people who get infected, fall into a coma, wake up with memory loss, and become immune. Our crew of heroes are trying to find someone immune so they can use their blood to develop a vaccine. This dude they found stumbling through the desert asking for water may be one of those people because he supposedly can't remember anything leading up to him being found in the desert. A half hour in, and the stage feels set for some pretty interesting conflicts. The female lead lost her love interest in the opening scene while she's pooping in a gas station bathroom, but she's secretly keeping his zombie body tied up in a sleeping bag, feeding him her own blood, and the rest of the crew doesn't know. Spicy. Whoops, I talked too loud and now the rest of the crew knows. This is when I would expect some intense group conflict. Instead, the leader goes, all right, that's fine. You'd also expect in a movie titled Road Wars to see some wars on the road, but all the characters keep their cool on the streets, hardly ever even exceeding the speed limit. The team encounters a gang of bandits that Amnesia Guy says he was once grouped up with. They are some bad dudes, and to make matters worse, they've captured some of our people. We head to their lair and prepare for a fight to the death, but no need. The bandits just give them back.
You can have your people. Release them.
You might think in a post-apocalyptic action film there should be lots of action, but what we really want is for these people to get to the end of the story through the path of least resistance. That's the cinematic way. Trust me on this. I know a thing or two about movies. I went to film school at the University of Central Florida. But for you degenerates who crave bloodshed, you get your wish 1 hour and 11 minutes into this movie, our first and only road war of Road Wars. After the singular road war, Amnesia Guy finds his wife, who he says is the only person he remembers. Maybe the writers are the one with amnesia because just earlier he remembered the bandits. They make it to the lab to see if they can create a vaccine when a huge plot twist hits us in the face. The lead's love interest and Amnesia Guy and his wife are all revealed to be day runner zombies all along, which makes no sense because day runners can't drink water. How are we introduced to Amnesia Guy? By him asking for water. These are the small details that can easily fall through the cracks when you're producing a major motion picture like Road Wars. Does it throw off the major plot twist of the movie? Yes, but I can forgive and forget when the rest of the film ran so smoothly with as little conflict as possible. I could tell the director and I were somehow on the same wavelengths, so it was no surprise to me when I looked him up afterwards and saw we went to the same film school. Then everyone dies except the woman and the girl. That's it. The following alien invasion is brought to you by McDonald's and Coca-Cola. Mac and Me landed on the big screen a few years after Steven Spielberg's E.T., taking the kid befriends alien concept and Doing it again, two brothers and their mom move to a new city where the youngest son, Eric, meets a little alien guy and none of the adults believe him. That's to be expected in these kind of movies, but the mom drove me crazy. The first morning in their new house, the family wakes up to find the outside is now inside. Such a supernatural occurrence. Who else is the mom to blame for this other than her wheelchair-bound son? She is also the one who decided to move them to the least wheelchair-accessible house at the top of a cliff. Of course, Eric ends up falling off of it in one of the most famous moments in cinema history. Eric flies wheels up into the water. Thankfully, Mac, the alien, is chilling by the water and pushes him back to safety. When his mom rushes to the scene, she seems annoyed at Eric for surviving. She says, "I can't believe he did this." I can't believe he did this. What kind of parenting is this? When the doctor comes to check up on him, Eric says there was a little alien guy that helped him out of the water. The doctor's response is to sedate the kid.
I'm gonna give you this, mild sedative.
I've seen this clip 100 times without context because of Paul Rudd. Now seeing it with the full movie, it somehow feels even more random with context. You know something else that doesn't make sense? The budget. This might be the only movie on this list that cost more than the film it's ripping off, but it didn't even get a tenth of the love from critics as E.T. The folks on Rotten Tomatoes simply don't understand. This is not a sit back and relax kind of movie experience. It's an interactive, live-action, scholastic I Spy book for Coke and McDonald's products. Producer RJ Lewis really wanted McDonald's in this movie, and it took him 3 whole years to get the proper rights to make that happen. It's a point of pride for him even today, bragging, "I'm still the only person in the universe that ever had the exclusive motion picture rights to the McDonald's trademark." I wonder why they never agreed to do it again. I mean, there are McDonald's references and Coke cans everywhere in here. In the beginning, I would see one and think, "Oh, nice find, Joey. Very observant." Then a couple minutes later, there's another more obvious Coke can, and a few seconds later, there's another, and before you know it, they are a huge part of the plot. Mac doesn't just like Coke, he needs it. Mac is injured, give him a Coke. They're tired, give him a Coke. The TV isn't working, here's a Coke. Here's Coke in a McDonald's cup. Eric's brother has the hots for the girl next door. Guess where she works? This girl's whole wardrobe is McDonald's uniforms. So anyways, we've made it to the 1 hour mark of the movie, and it's time to celebrate, baby. That's right, dance party in the McDonald's parking lot. Later, we find Mac's alien family in a desert cave. Well, we can't welcome them to Earth without...
Here's some drinks in the jacket.
There's only 2 cans left.
That's fine, let's go.
This movie treats Coke as a magical serum that nurses aliens to health. It's the beverage with a taste that transcends time and space. I would have thought eventually the characters would run out of their Coke supply, and technically they do. But you're not gonna believe where they head next. The supermarket to get more Coke. This grocery run for soda is so high stakes, it leads to a standoff between the aliens and the police. Somehow the alien dad ends up packing heat and just fully pulls a gun on the cops. And he's got some swagger to it. The subliminal advertising throughout the movie was so effective, I started hearing things. The more this cop says get back, the more it sounds like Big Mac.
Get back, get back, get back, get back, get back.
These aliens that look like drunk, naked, hairless people get in a gunfight with the cops, and the whole supermarket explodes. Eric isn't close enough to the explosion to be hit, but he's still somehow knocked unconscious, and they all think he's dead. As confused as I was with how Eric got injured in the first place, it was cleared up afterwards when I saw that in the original cut of this movie, Eric is actually shot by a cop, but through the flames, Mac and his alien family arrive and resurrect Eric. After this insane shootout, which destroyed a grocery store and I can only assume led to some casualties, the aliens are brought to court, not for their crimes, but for their American citizenship. For this celebratory occasion, Mac is wearing a Mick Kids polo shirt. They got a driver's license now too, and everyone lived happily ever after. You're telling me only 7% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes enjoyed this movie? Sounds like they were in the pockets of Pepsi and Burger King. The credits roll with a warning that we'll be back, but Mac and Me barely got half its budget back in the box office, so that idea was crushed. I'm not giving up hope though. One of the producers in 2017 teased that a sequel could eventually happen, and if it does, I'll be seated at that first screening, Coke in hand, baby. This Titanic ripoff is so lame, I started rooting for the iceberg. Titanic, The Legend Goes On, from 2000, is an Italian animated musical with the mission of Disney-fying James Cameron's Blockbuster, and mission accomplished. This is like every Disney animation had a baby together, and then that baby threw up. 2 minutes into the movie, it's literally Cinderella. This is literally 101 Dalmatians. This is literally Lady and the Tramp. This guy's name is literally Gaston. One of the biggest complaints about the original Titanic movie was obviously not enough characters. In Titanic, The Legend Goes On, there are so many characters. Angelica, the Cinderella character looking for her mom, her evil stepmother and stepsisters, William, the wealthy love interest, his maid, who is actually Angelica's birth mom, William's secretary Gaston, a gold digger, a banker, a jewel thief, her two henchmen, a detective, a singer, a sailor, an angry chef, and that's just the humans. There's also animal characters like the geese, a family of mice, a cat, a mariachi band of mice, and a rapping dog. This movie is only 80 minutes long. We are getting whip around coverage like it's the NFL Red Zone network of all the drama on this boat, and yet none of it makes any sense. This scene with William helping a crying kid who lost his ball is such a continuity nightmare, it gave me a concussion. But don't worry about the editing, man. This movie is about love. Angelica and William cross paths twice, and the spark is there immediately as they pick up laundry together and accidentally touch hands. When they see each other a third time at the Titanic ball, they seal their love with a kiss, and all the enchanted animals celebrate. Movie's not over though. This is the Titanic, and unfortunately for the folks on board, the legend goes on. They still have not hit that iceberg. I'm already exhausted though, desperate for the movie to end, and so are the characters on the ship, I guess, because when the boat finally crashes into the iceberg and begins sinking, nobody on the ship seems to notice. With 20 minutes left to go, we're getting somewhere. Angelica is reunited with her long-lost mom on the rowboat after Titanic sinks, but she's worried for William. They keep doing these montages of Angelica and William's life together so far, but they only have been in the same room together 3 times, so they just replay the same clips over and over again. William is found in the water, but things aren't looking good. Disney, use your wand! Okay, William is alive. We did it.
Wait a minute, where are you going? The movie isn't over yet.
Good God. The rest of the movie is a little kid doing a voiceover to finish all the multiple storylines, with the final line being, they all live happily ever after. Just like the Titanic. He's not it. He's just clown. Around the time It Chapter 2 came out, the mockbuster pros at the asylum were ready to ride the creepy clown wave with their knockoff of Pennywise, simply titled Clown. Not to be confused with Clown, Clown 2, Clown, Clown, Clowntown, Clown, Wrinkle the Clown, Clowntergeist, or Clownado. A group of friends heading to a music festival have their car break down in the middle of nowhere, or I guess Hidden Village, Nevada. What's so special about Hidden Village? Well, 24 years ago, the citizens murdered a bunch of clowns. Now you might be asking me, why aren't clowns welcome there, and what led the people to kill these clowns? Don't ask me! One of the teens wanders far away from the broken down car and finds the spooky old ghost town. Some decent jump scares happen and they lead nowhere. This dude has a real life clown pop out at him, not once, but twice, and he is totally unfazed by it, then galumps his way into this clown house. You can't save people like this. And this whole time his friends are looking around for him, yelling out his name, and he doesn't come back to the car. It's very inconsiderate.
Awesome.
The gang concludes their lost friend must be in this clown house and decide to head in. But not before this girl totally wins me over.
Sorta. Except there's nothing at all.
And all of a sudden I'm thinking this movie's not gonna be half bad.
Hey, what was that thing back there?
It was some kind of clown.
And they've lost me again. Inside the clown house now, they realize they can't get out, but they have cell service, so they call the funhouse management line. It goes to voicemail. Then they call their missing friend, and it goes to the funhouse voicemail. Then they start calling each other, and it still goes to the funhouse voicemail. I'm actually a fan of this moment. It's going a little farther than surface level, and for a mockbuster, that's impressive to me. It'd be a little scarier though if it wasn't clearly broad daylight out, but if it wasn't the middle of the day, the whole movie would just be a pitch black screen. I think the lighting department is still back at the broken down car. And this scary haunted house would feel more troubling if there was more than just a thin layer of wood separating them from an easy escape. One of the smaller kids could squeeze through those wood boards, or one of the football players could ram their way through. And I know they're on the high school football team because every single line of dialogue from these guys is about how they're on the football team.
You're the quarterback. You know what to do, man. Just think.
If this kid made it out of here in one piece, he was gonna have an identity crisis after graduation. But the QB doesn't make it out of there alive. He dies when the barrel of laughs spins too fast and his dead body becomes a jack-in-the-box. Clever. For his next trick, Clown pours popcorn kernels on a kid and the guy vomits up popcorn then explodes. I just don't get it. Is he in a big microwave? For any of the kids he doesn't kill in creatively confusing ways, Clown is slowly capturing the rest in the group and forcing them to sit. I mean, really forcing them to sit in this room. Really committed to assigned seating. What this movie does well for me though is humanize Clown. Family pictures make him cry. He cherishes his old home videotapes like Love, and dead parents, and death, which is real archived footage of him reacting to his clown family dying. And that's the ticket out of this clown house. The kids realize they need to fight Clown not with fists, but with therapy, putting on a wig and pretending to be the clown's dead mom. So should this movie ripoff exist? I can't answer that, but maybe one of the characters can. What do you think? Exactly. Not even Netflix is above ripping off other movies. Kung Fu Panda, this is your dollar store twin, Chopkick Panda. A panda working as a custodian at a dojo fantasizes of being a grandmaster of martial arts. There's a sinister plot by an evil tiger to steal a magical amulet that's hidden in the dojo while the panda hosts a sleepover in the dojo for his son and his son's friends. If this sounds chaotic, it's not. There's an entire scene of the panda just teaching rock, paper, scissors to his son and friends. That's the scene. And while Kung Fu Panda had massive, intricately choreographed fight scenes, Chopkick Panda had the courage to take its climactic battle completely out of frame. After the good guys win, the final line of the movie is
do or do not. There is no try.
They really had to steal one of the most famous lines in movie history. The production company behind Chopkick Panda, Renegade Animation, has worked on plenty big-time movie and TV shows, and the people involved are longtime professionals in the industry. There's really no excuse for how blatant this IP theft is, or how lazy the final product is. Thankfully, they didn't bother creating a full-length feature film. It only clocks in at 42 minutes, which feels generous. Maybe there was once an audience for this, for people who absolutely loved Kung Fu Panda 1 and were truly foaming at the mouth for anything slightly resembling that universe. But Kung Fu Panda 2 came out the same year as Chopkick Panda, followed by 2 more Kung Fu Panda sequels, 6 short films, 3 animated series, 1 play, and at least 5 video games. This might be the silver bullet to kill off any and all mockbusters. Grow your IP so far and wide and give your fan base such an overabundance of content that these ripoffs serve no purpose beyond deception. And there's no doubt people were deceived by Chopkick Panda. People's reaction to seeing this on Netflix were not so positive. And think of the poor souls who bought the physical DVD of this at Best Buy for $10 thinking it was the real deal. Likely some unsuspecting seniors trying to get their grandkids a nice gift, accidentally paying for this low effort slop. It's gotta be the most blatant ripoff in this list and just a real skadoosh move.
Skadoosh.
This movie was bold enough to rip off 2 blockbusters at the same time. Aliens vs. Avatars is what happens when you shmush James Cameron's Avatar with Alien vs. Predator. Starting us off with space graphics straight out of a 90s music video, I'm getting a sense that this story is gonna take us on an intergalactic adventure, and I'm in for that. My expectations quickly crash land back to Earth to follow 2 girls on a hike up to a party spot. One of them is very ready to party.
It seems like we've been walking forever, and I'm ready to party. Woohoo!
When they get there, we're given, no exaggeration, the most meaningless use of nudity in a film, and then one of them becomes possessed by an invisible alien and chokes out the other. Cut to present day, a new group of friends go hiking up to a camping spot around where the first 2 girls were. Nobody thought to mention the hike to this poor girl in heels. Meanwhile, an Avatar, which in this movie just means blue alien, is spying from her spaceship on the other invisible alien, which is not a ripoff of the alien from Alien, but a ripoff of the alien from Predator. In the credits, the alien isn't even called Alien, it's called Monster, unless they're saying that the actor portraying the alien is named Monster. Fuck, I'm lost. And there's no need to make these words plural. There's 1 alien on each side of this battle. So it really should be called Alien versus Alien. Or maybe Alien versus Predator. But then it'd be the same title as one of the movies it's ripping off. Oh my God. Actually, according to the movie's official website, they did change the title of the movie to Alien versus Alien. Not sure what led to the name switch, but the director posted a comment on Reddit a few days ago saying the only issue that came up was when the Indian distributor used the actual artwork from Avatar, then 20th Century Fox sued the producer. I've noticed that this is common with mockbusters. They go by tons of different titles. There was a mockbuster of Pacific Rim called Atlantic Rim, but was also known as Attack from Beneath, Attack from the Atlantic Rim, and From the Sea. There was also a Home Alone Air Bud mockbuster, Alone for Christmas, also known as Bone Alone. Anyway, time for our blue alien to stop being blue and teleport herself to Earth.
And I'm ready to party. Woohoo!
This camping trip is going great. The jock dude starts rolling around and making out with this girl when she says the most romantic thing possible.
What's that smell?
Guys, that's the dead body rotting a foot away from you. That night, our girl in heels gets rejected by the nerdy guy, gets lost in the woods, and gets chased by the predator alien. Somehow, even in heels, she evades it for a while before inevitably getting caught. But the group is too busy sleeping in jeans to notice she's gone. In the morning, they realize she's missing and go looking for her, find this rock with one blood stain on it sitting in a completely bloodless area, along with one shoe.
What show?
That's when they come face to face with the Avatar alien. They chase her and catch her. Her name is Ava, and says her actual body, which is blue, is still up in the ship, which is kind of the opposite of what avatars are in Avatar. Meanwhile, the predator alien kills the nerdy girl, disguises itself as her, and attacks the jock and the other girl. The jock doesn't go down without a fight, and we get some top-tier stage combat of him swinging a knife at the air. The Avatar alien and the predator have a showdown. The predator alien is seriously wounded. He's got to sit down and show off those sweet sneakers he got at Payless. Listen, I don't want to keep bashing on this movie forever. I just want to point out my most frustrating bit about it, which is the lack of spatial awareness by these characters.
Where's Ava?
I don't know.
The filmmakers behind this movie clearly know their way around a good mockbuster. Before Aliens vs. Avatars, they made The Amazing Bulk, which I probably should have watched instead because it looks insane. But they took the idea of Aliens vs. Avatars and they made it into an actual movie, and that's hard to do.
It is dead.
If you look at it as a home video that some friends made in their free time for the love of it, you can say, hey, great job, you guys. But if you look at it as something that should be on par with major blockbusters with a coherent plot and strong characters, hey, don't do that. Why would you? This 50-year-old Turkish movie is like watching a kid play with action figures while making up the craziest storylines on the fly. The superhero film 3 Dev Adam is a showdown of Captain America versus Spider-Man, made with absolutely zero concern for copyright infringement. It's not just weird, it's violent. This has got some gnarly deaths, with most of the violence caused by our friendly neighborhood serial killer Spider-Man. Kicking off the movie, Spidey buries a girl neck deep in sand and revs a boat propeller in her face. This puts the Turkish government on high alert. But thankfully, Captain America is in town, presumably for a quick and affordable procedure. The real question is, how is Cap fluent in Turkish?
Türkçeyi gayet iyi konuşuyorsunuz. Gelelim esas meseleye.
And there we go. It's impressive that they were able to get the Captain America for this film, yet they only have him suit up twice. He's like a side character in his own knockoff movie. Things turn into an official international crisis when Mexico's national professional wrestler and superhero El Santo joins the fold. Who would have thought this goofy-looking Spider-Man, who can't even fit his luscious bangs inside his mask, could cause such a ruckus? But he really is a seditious little fella, killing people off in gruesome ways. His favorite move is sneaking up on people while they shower. He does this 2 separate times in the movie, so who knows how many more times he's done it before the cameras were on. The fight scenes in here are chock full of bonks to the head, chair shots, and judo chops. Then multiple Spider-Man show up, and that's when something shifts in my brain a little bit. Spider-Man and Captain America on opposite sides, the duplicate Spider-Man, Spider-Man as an amateur wrestler. Who's ripping off who here? I no longer consider 3 Dev Adam a knockoff. It shouldn't be in this list. It's more of like a blueprint for what would become the MCU. We're sticking around in Turkey for this next entry. This movie didn't just rip off other movies, it ripped actual footage from them. This is Turkish Star Wars, or if you want to go by its original name, The Man Who Saved the World, which is not only a spoiler, it's also inaccurate. There are 2 men saving the world. But the title has got to be referring to this character, who is played by the writer of the movie. And what's up with that other guy? Hey, weren't you Turkish Captain America a minute ago? Whatever. 2 starship pilots are in a battle near a distant planet with a bunch of Star Wars footage of the Death Star intercut, and these guys sitting in front of a green screen saying things like dropping altitude and just bending down. They crash land on a planet, and they are 100% certain it's full of hot single ladies. To their surprise, these hot single ladies are actually hot single skeletons. We are now in a horse race as the film score from Indiana Jones plays. I'm sensing a pattern here. There's an evil sorcerer who is out to get them and use their brains to conquer Earth. Our heroes fight their way out of his grasp and hide with a bunch of villagers in a cave where one of the men falls in love with a lady. We get a full minute of these 2 staring at each other, followed by More romantic staring. There's a badass training montage with the heroes punching rocks and jumping with boulders attached to their legs to give them the ability of super bounce. Actually, calling it Turkish Star Wars really doesn't do it justice. Doing some quick math, it's around 10% Star Wars, 10% Indiana Jones music, and the rest is romantic stares and this guy jumping on a trampoline. Since he wrote this movie, I really think he made his own powers this strange super bounce just so he could have trampoline time. And dude, I would have done the same. Let's get back to the story. Even more romantic staring. Even more romantic staring. This guy is carrying the movie simply with eye contact. It's incredible. Next we have more staring. All their rock punching really pays off in this incredible fight where the hero chops off a minion's arm, stabs him with it, then chops his other arm off and stabs him with that one too. Highlight of the movie for me was when the evil sorcerer captures the heroes again and decides these guys need to experience ultimate torture and chooses to bury them alive, something no mortal can withstand, and just sprinkles an inch of dirt on their heads. After a couple seconds, the dudes lift their heads up and the sorcerer goes, "Ah, what the hell, they're so powerful." Meanwhile, there's battles going on in space using Star Wars footage, and they are unrelated to the storyline. This movie felt like it needed the Star Wars stuff, but I think it could have lived independently as its own thing and would have been fine. Well, this final fight scene, though, is madness. The sorcerer takes 80 chops to the face and then explodes in half. The movie ends with our hero heading home to Earth in the Millennium Falcon, and the Indiana Jones theme song plays us out. Perfection. I want to point out that my feelings on these foreign mockbusters are different than the others in this list. For one, these came out a long time ago, and enough time has passed that these no longer feel bad, they feel historic. Two, I don't see these as deceptive. Movies like The Man Who Saved the World and 3 Dev Adam, these are honest attempts to make something great, and they're using movies and characters they're inspired by as resources. A Turkish mockbuster and a mockbuster from the Asylum are not even on the same level as each other, if you ask me. And three, they are so over the top, so weird, that it kind of works. Before we get to the last movie on this list, let's give it up for some honorable mentions, because there's a lot of knockoff movies out there and they come in a lot of different movie-shaped objects. There were snakes on a plane, then there were snakes on a train. We're over Ratatouille, now we're ratatouing. We've visited Dune, but have you been to Planet Dune? There's cars and planes, and there's Wheelie and Wings. Hey, you up? Cause we're gonna go watch What's Up? Balloon to the Rescue. High School Musical, now coming to your weekend church service with Sunday School Musical. The Fast and the Fierce stole the branding of The Fast and the Furious and stole the plot of Speed. Netflix's The Silence, starring Stanley Tucci. Not really a mockbuster per se, but a bit of a ripoff of A Quiet Place. Tomb Raider, Tomb Invader. Independence Day, Independence Day. Jungle Cruise, how about Jungle Run to your local Blockbuster and buy Jungle Run? Some mockbusters weren't even made with the intention of being a mockbuster, like The Adventures of Lolo the Penguin, which was originally made in the 80s, then re-released on DVD under the new name Tappy Feet. Before the Five Nights at Freddy's video game could be adapted into a movie, Willy's Wonderland took the idea of a night security guard manning their station against killer animatronic characters and beat it to the silver screen. It stars Nicolas Cage, and he doesn't say a single line of dialogue. I was hoping out of all these movies, I could give you all one, just one, that I could confidently recommend you watch for yourself and enjoy. But I have to say, none of these deserve your time. If you're like me, watching most of these movies could seriously make you question your love of filmmaking. So to those in need of serious reassurance that movie making can be pure and full of creative spirit, watch this next movie instead and see what it's like when ripping off movies can be a good thing. What if you and your 6 siblings grew up locked inside a tiny apartment for your whole childhood? Your father believed the world was full of drugs, murder, and corruption, and his paranoia became your prison, confining you and your family inside with the door locked and the curtains drawn. What if your only window to the outside world was movies? This is the real story of the Angolo siblings, told in the incredible documentary, The Wolfpack. Trapped inside that apartment, these kids watched thousands of films that gave them a sense of the world they'd never seen. One of the brothers later said, "Movies weren't just an escape, they were guidance to me. They showed me what rivers looked like." Eventually, they decided watching these movies wasn't enough, and they began recreating their favorite films from scratch. Reservoir Dogs, Goodfellas, The Dark Knight. While other knockoff mockbuster movies have thousands of dollars to play with, these kids used whatever was around their apartment and their own imagination to retell their favorite stories, taking days to write by hand entire scripts, line by line, as if they were sacred texts, creating costumes with nothing nothing but yoga mats and cardboard from cereal boxes. With no audience other than each other, these homemade movies were not done with any intent to deceive. They were not made to leech off blockbuster popularity for money. They were made as love letters to the films that shaped them, with the responsibility to get every line and movement right. And through this process, we see the metamorphosis of true filmmakers. They go from imitating art they love to creating their own. This is the difference between cheap and homemade. This is what it looks like when good art inspires you to make your own. And this is what it looks like to turn a creative outlet into a form of freedom. I want to end this video with their story because while I had fun joking about ridiculous movie knockoffs, I hope the real takeaway can be that a lack of money or experience should not stop you from making something. Do what these brothers did and take what you have now and make the best use of it. Your first projects might not be the best, most original thing you'll ever make. You might not even know what your story is yet. So it's okay to be motivated by your favorites to gain a deeper understanding of the mechanics of movie making. That's just one of the many things that is inspirational about the Wolfpack. If you're gonna rip off your favorite movies, this is how you do it. This might not be a good video, but it's a finished video. And for a mockbuster, that's enough. If you want to see more videos from me, might I suggest this video where we talk about TV shows that were canceled before one episode. And while you consider clicking that, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you liked this, I hope you subscribe. I'll see you in the other video. My tummy is grumbling. I don't know if you could hear that. Nope. Okay. Let's do this again sometime.